What is going on, everybody? My name is Colby Cochran here with Roundtable Sports, and today we have a really great video with the trade deadline just looming in a few days here on Tuesday. There are a lot of players that have been thrown around as possible trade candidates as we inch closer and closer, like I said, to the trade deadline. Today's video brought to you by BetUS. We'll talk to you guys a little bit later how you can have some extra fun this football season. But let's just get right into this, and let's start with a couple of Patriots wide receivers that we are hearing could be on the outside looking in. The first one being former Minnesota Vikings wide receiver KJ Osborne. Now, this was an addition that the Patriots made in free agency this offseason. Osborne is signed to just a one-year deal and has not lived up to expectations with the New England Patriots, in large part because now they're just not giving him opportunities. He's a guy that over the last few weeks for New England has been a healthy scratch, more specifically this past week. And Osborne did say that he would be okay moving on from New England and definitely has voiced his displeasures so far with the Patriots. This is a guy also that Kirk Cousins said when the Patriots signed him during the offseason that he's very underrated and he doesn't get enough appreciation. He's put up 700-yard seasons with Minnesota in previous years under Kirk Cousins, and Cousins said that he's someone who can flourish when given a larger role, when given a larger opportunity, and he was just shadowed by Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, constantly being asked to be wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. If he's somebody that can get a larger role, then he will flourish. Hasn't done that in New England, but maybe just needs a change of scenery. This, again, is a veteran wide receiver that I think a lot of teams would be interested in. Inside, outside versatility, regular season and postseason experience. Very, very valuable for teams who are looking to make a postseason push. And it really wouldn't cost them a lot at all. They could get KJ Osborne for likely just a 6th or 7th round pick. My projection here being a 6th round pick. The big thing we have to remember, too, is that right now, this is a buyer's league. And what I mean by that is you look at the trades that have been put out there so far. Patriots trading, Josh Uche on over to the Chiefs for only a 6th round pick in 2026. DeAndre Hopkins traded for a measly 4th or 5th round pick. Deontay Johnson traded for very similar to that also. These guys aren't going for the value that we're expecting them to. These teams that are buying, it's essentially trying to acquire these players, they're getting them on very, very good deals. So players that we think will have a higher value are going for less, surprisingly, at the trade deadline, which is why I think KJ Osborne could go for a 6th. He has the talent of a guy that should realistically go for a 5th, maybe just maybe a 4th. But with where this league is at right now with the lack of production, I think he's looking at about a 6th round pick via trade. Now, the other Patriots wide receiver that has been talked about in trade talks over the last couple of weeks is Tyquan Thornton. Reports coming out from Josina Anderson that he's a name that teams have already called the Patriots about. This is a wide receiver that still has the rest of his contract here for 2024, but is also signed in 2025, making him a pending free agent in 2026. A wide receiver, rather, is still on a rookie contract. Very, very easy for teams to bring on, and has this very unique mix of both size and speed. I mean, a guy who ran a 4.2 40-yard dash. He's 6'3", inside-outside versatility, speed kills at the end of the day, and teams are going to just think maybe this guy didn't work out in New England and he just needs a change of scenery. And if teams are able to get the best out of a guy like Tyquan Thornton, he can be absolutely deadly, like I mentioned, with that combination of both size and speed. Look at the fact that he really hasn't produced for New England since being drafted in the 2nd round of 2022. And I don't think he's going for much either. I think that this is probably likely going to be a 7th round pick or maybe even a pick swap to where, the Patriots say, here, you give us your 6th round pick, we'll give you our 7th round pick and Tyquan Thornton. Just get him off the books, move on, and get something for him. Because if the Patriots don't get something for him now, they're probably going to end up releasing him sooner rather than later. Now, the next player that I'm hearing a lot about during the trade deadline is Chase Young, the defensive end for the New Orleans Saints. The Saints haven't exactly been a good team. They're on a losing streak. It seems like their playoff hopes are quickly dwindling down, and a team that is also in negative cap space this offseason. If they want to add talent, they want to start getting better, they are going to have to build through the draft, and they're going to want to do that by adding more draft picks. What I'm hearing is that Chase Young could go for about a 4th round pick. I would be highly surprised Now, this was a guy that was selected top 3 in the draft just a few years ago. Didn't work out for the Commanders. They went during the trade deadline last year, traded him to the 49ers. Really didn't have that same impact for either of these teams that he had at the collegiate level. So I do think some teams will look at that and say, if we can tap into what we saw when he was at Ohio State, then we can get a real player here. But yeah, he's young, hasn't produced though, especially hasn't produced for the Saints. He only has about 2 sacks on the season, had 1 sack in a game and then 2 half sacks. So this is a guy that for the Saints just really hasn't produced, and the NFL has recency bias. So he's someone who I think, honestly, it'd be surprising if he goes for a fourth. He's probably only going for about a fifth-round pick. Real quick, though, before we continue on today's video, I do want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Right now, when you guys use the promo code that you see on the screen, YouTube150, you will be locked into an exclusive limited time offer of a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, followed by a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits, all the way up to $2,000. That is a deal on your first 3 deposits. BetUS, they got the fastest payouts in the industry. They can also give you a 200% crypto deposit bonus. They can even give you a 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year, and they can give you your very own personalized account manager. They have live wagering on all major games and the best betting variety in the business. Not only can you bet on NFL games, build parlays, player props, but you can even bet on NFL futures. For example, if your team's not doing so well and you're like, I'm not betting on my team this year. You kidding me? We suck. Then you can bet on NFL futures like the draft. Who's going to have the first overall pick? Which team is it going to be? Is Travis Hunter going to be a cornerback or a wide receiver? You can bet on who's going to win MVP, Coach of the Year, all of that good stuff right now with BetUS. And if maybe the NFL isn't your style, you can bet on college football. You can bet on basketball, baseball, horse racing, fighting, entertainment, politics, with the president going to be announced here very shortly. So BetUS, best variety in the business. I mean, they have the opportunities like nobody else is going to. Remember that supporting the sponsors that support the channel supports everybody, both behind and in front of the camera here at Roundtable Sports. Big shout out, of course, though, again, to BetUS. Now, the next player that I'm hearing that has been floated around over the last few days is another edge rusher. This one's coming from a contender, so maybe a little bit more controversial. Coming from the Green Bay Packers, edge rusher rather, Preston Smith. Now, he's going to be on the back end of his career, and I think that's the discussion on why the Packers could be looking to potentially ship him off, get something for him while they can. This is a guy that's 31 years old. So like I said, tail end of his career, but is still producing. He put up 8 sacks in 2023. He put up 8 sacks in 2022. He has 2.5 sacks already on the season. I don't think that they're going to get a 4th-round pick or more from him, not because this guy can't produce, but because of that age. How many years does he have left? And like I said, right now, this is not a seller's trade deadline. This is a buyer's trade deadline. So what I'm hearing is that Preston Smith probably going for a 5th-round pick, a team that wants to bolster that defensive line with a little bit of extra pass rush, a little bit more experience with a veteran coming off of the edge. I'm hearing that the Falcons make a lot of sense for him. I'm hearing the 49ers can make a lot of sense for him. Are the Green Bay Packers going to want to trade him in the same conference, in the NFC? I think that is going to be the biggest question. If not, maybe a team, like I said, the Ravens. Now, the next player on this list is another edge rusher, but a guy that I am constantly hearing about daily leading up to this trade deadline, and that is Cleveland Browns' Zadarius Smith. Browns, they haven't lived up to expectations. They are a team that likes to build through the draft, especially for the future. Zadarius Smith right now about 31, 32 years old. So I don't think that there's a lot of value necessarily in him and what they're going to get, especially, like I've been saying, looking at where the state currently is of the NFL in this trade deadline. So there is a lot of teams that are interested in him. I think the Lions would make a lot of sense. They don't have to ship Zadarius Smith to another team in the AFC. Zadarius Smith goes to a contender, and we know with Aiden Hutchinson out, Detroit needs massive help with their pass rush. So I think just due to age, Smith is probably only going for about a 5th-round pick. If there is enough interest, maybe he pushes a 4th. But due to that age, I don't think there's going to be too many teams willing to give up big capital for him. So I think ultimately he's going for a 5th. And then the last player we're going to talk about today is another defensive player, and that is Azeez Ojulari. Now, this guy has been playing in the NFL for the last 4 years now. He was originally drafted by the Giants in 2021. And like I mentioned, Only 24 years old. This guy is still very, very young. He's in contract year, and that's the discussion on why maybe the Giants decide to move on. I mean, the Giants, they are in cap hell because of Daniel Jones. They need to add talent, and shipping him off for a guy that probably doesn't want to stay within the organization in New York probably would make a lot of sense. This is another pass rusher who's been absolutely killing it throughout his 4-year career. 8 sacks in his rookie year in 2021, 5.5 sacks in 2022. 2.5 sacks in 2023, and then already here in 2024, looking to have a career year with 6 sacks. If the Giants feel that they aren't going to be able to retain him during the offseason, that when he hits free agency, he's going to be as good as gone and they're not going to get anything for him, then they might look to try to move him now. I'm hearing a 4th round pick for a baller who gets to the quarterback, who's still very young, 24. I could see a lot of teams being interested in this one and them getting a 3rd round pick. Now, again, got to understand the state of where the NFL is, got to understand the state of the market. He's also in contract year. That is going to bring down that value just a little bit, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's several teams that would be in on this one. A guy that doesn't just help you now, but a guy that can help you for the next several years. You're just going to have to give him, of course, a contract extension. But you guys let me know in the comment section below what you think about these trades. Who do you think is going to be dealt over the next couple of days with the NFL trade deadline in 2024 coming up very quickly here on Tuesday? Again, today's video brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you guys go ahead and use that promo code YouTube150 to get an exclusive 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. Make sure you guys do subscribe here to Roundtable Sports. Hit that bell notification so that you get notified every single time we post a video. Leave a big like, but until next time, we appreciate you guys for watching.